Hi everybody, this is Courtney with Fiber Fox Studios and welcome to another Mosaic Monday and part two of the Native Bliss cowl. So this is our crochet along. We are going to be learning this pattern today and we're going to be joining on to existing work. So if you have not seen video number one, you definitely want to jump back over to video number one. I will have that down in the description linked for you, and I will try to remember to pop a link on screen. For those of you who worked with me last week on week one for pattern number one, this is what your work should be looking like. So I will have all of the yarn information, like the colors and brands, down below in the description. You will also find different starting chain counts for different projects that you can do using these cowl videos, and I will have the color of the yarn from my original design, which is this one back here. This is the shawl version that you're seeing with the double border. That's going to be week 5 for us. So we are going to get started by joining on to the existing work. But for those of you who are wanting to start using this pattern back here and are not going to be starting with this pattern, you still need to reference video number 1 or week 1 of the cowl, because the first 2 rows are going to be exactly the same, and then you would join up with this video to begin doing this mosaic work. So because we are joining on to an existing project, this is the scarf version here. I am going to start with row 1 of this video, joining on up here. So just hop over to video 1, week 1, and watch the first 2 rows of instruction. All the row start times are down below in the description as well. And if you prefer to work from the charts, you can find the link to the chart set in the Etsy store down below in the description as well. So now we're going to jump into starting this week's work on part 2 of the crochet along. So as a recap to what we did last week, we did 3 repeats of the pattern. You, of course, can always do more, but to maintain the sizing that I gave down in the description, you're going to do the 3 repeats, ending on what I have here, which is color B, this blue tone yarn for me. So your color B needs to be the last row that you have completed on last week's pattern 1 work. So we join on now with color A. So now our repeat for row number 1 for pattern number 2 is about to begin. We're going to begin by doing 5 of our single crochets, working in that back loop only over the next 5 stitches. So we just identify our very next stitch, pick up that back loop only, and do our single crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we will do 1 double crochet, and this is a drop down double crochet. So we wrap our yarn around our hook and we identify our next stitch, slide down directly down 2 rows below, and we're going to pick up that front loop that's left by us doing our back loops. And we just finish out a normal double crochet from there. So that's our double crochet. Now we're going to do 1 back loop in the very next stitch, followed by 1 of our double crochets. Wrap and slide down. Always like to turn my hook to pick up that front loop. And just keep nice loose tension so you don't draw this loop up. You don't want to stretch everything upward. And we're going to end our repeat by doing 4 single crochets over these next 4 stitches. So just go right there to the very next stitch and do our single crochet. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that ends our repeat for row number 1. So we're going to recap that. We started over here and did 5 of our single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 4 single crochet. So we're going to do the repeat one more time together. So our repeat begins by starting right here in the very next stitch, and we're going to do 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we do 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. We will do 1 single crochet right there beside it. So we're working right here on top of this double crochet from the previous row. And then we will have 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. And the repeat will end by doing 4 single crochets over the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's stop and take a look. So essentially all you're doing is 9 single crochets in between this section right here. You will do your double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. So if you just take a look at your work, it's really simple to do this one. You're just going to work straight on over when you get to this section right here where you have your little square, and obviously you're going to be in your color A. When you see where you can drop down and meet up with this, that's where you're going to be doing your double crochet. So if you just work in that exact same manner on down the rest of your row, you will be finished up in no time, and you will pause here and meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 2. Row 1 end is just like we did last week, where you complete a repeat and then you're going to have 1 stitch left. So you start your repeat over in that first stitch, and then last stitch of the row is always the traditional single crochet. And if you look at the end of your row, it will match perfectly with the start of your row as well. So we begin row 2 now. Row 2 begins by doing 4 double crochets over the next 4 stitches. I've already joined on here with color B this time, and I've done the traditional single crochet in the first stitch. Now we begin doing our 4 double crochets, working immediately right here, very next stitch, and this starts our repeat. 4 double crochets. Here's number 1. 2. 3. Right there in the very next stitch. It's often easier for me just to count down here on the front loops. But next stitch and number 4 on our double crochets. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. So all of our single crochets are back loops. All of our double crochets are drop downs. So there's 1, and here is number 2. Now we will do 1 double crochet right here in the center. So we're going to do 1 double crochet. Followed by 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. And then we will do 3 double crochets to end our repeat, working over these next 3 stitches. Here's number 1. Number 2. And number 3. And that ends our repeat for row number 2. So let's recap that repeat. We began over here with 4 double crochets. We then did 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets. So we're going to do the repeat one more time together. So our repeat starts now by doing 4 double crochets. So we identify our next stitch, slide down 2 rows below, picking up that front loop, and we complete our double crochet. That's number 1. So here's number 2. Now we have number 3. And number 4. Then we will do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. Here's the very next stitch, picking up back loop only. 1 and 2. Now we do 1 double crochet, 2 single crochets, and the repeat ends with 3 double crochets. Just make sure you identify your next stitch, slide straight down. Here's my first double crochet, number 2, and number 3. So you can pause here and keep working on down the rest of your row in that exact same manner. And essentially what we're doing is in this center section right here, we're doing a total of 7 double crochets. So you end your repeat with 3, you begin your repeat with 4, so that's a total of 7. And when we get here to this center section of our little triangles that we have, we're doing our double crochet there in the center and 2 single crochets to space out. So as long as you keep working 2 single crochets, 7 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, you will have your row set up perfectly. So the repeat though is 4 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets. So pause here, keep working on down the rest of your row, and we will be back in just a moment to move on to row number 3. I'm here at the end of row number 2, and I just wanted to give a visual for the instructions. So I just finished a repeat, and I have the 2 stitches left, just like we did last week. So we always start our repeat over, which is 1 double crochet in this case. And then we know when we get to the last stitch in the row, it is our traditional single crochet going under the V and finishing out with a traditional single crochet. And then I chain up 2, clip my yarn, and that's how I bind off. So now we're going to move on to row number 3. Row 3 begins now by joining on with color A, which I've done already right here. Same join as always, single crochet, the traditional one, right there in the first stitch. Now we begin the repeat for row 3, and that repeat begins with 4 single crochets worked over these next 4 stitches. So we just insert back there, picking up that back loop, and finish up our single crochet. So there's 1, there's number 2, tails all in the way, I apologize, 3, and 4. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet right here in this very next stitch. So we wrap, slide down 2 rows below, three single crochets over these next 3 stitches. So right here, very next stitch, there's 1, 2, and 3. Now we will do 1 double crochet right here in this very next stitch. And our repeat will end by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. We're going to recap that repeat. We began our repeat over here with 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets. So you're going to begin your repeat again and continue to work that same set of stitches on down the rest of your row. We're going to do the repeat one more time together. So we're going to begin by doing 4 single crochets over these next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet right here over the next stitch. And we will end the repeat by doing 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So now we're going to take a look at our work real quick. You're essentially doing 7 single crochets over this section. And then right after the double crochet from the previous row, that's where you're setting your next double crochet. Then you're working across this little section here in the center of our little triangle. And framing that out with the double crochet here on the other side. So please pause here and continue to work on down the rest of your row, doing your repeat, and then we will meet back up for row number 4. Row 4 begins now by joining on with color B. We're going to begin the repeat for row 4 immediately. And our repeat begins by doing 3 double crochets over these next 3 stitches. Identify that next stitch, slide down 2 rows below. There's 1 double crochet. Here's 2. And 3. We will now do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. So right here, if you take a look, very next stitch, 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. Now we will do 3 double crochets over these next 3 stitches. So right there in the center, 1, 2, and 3. We will now do 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. Right there's the very next. There's 1 and 2. And then we will end our repeat by doing 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. So here's the very next stitch. There's 1 and 2. Now we're going to recap that repeat before we do it again together. So our repeat began over there, or over here, I'm sorry, by doing 3 of our double crochets. Then we did 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets, and we end the repeat with the 2 double crochets. We're going to do that repeat one more time together. So we're going to begin our repeat again immediately right here by doing our 3 double crochets. So very next stitch, slide down and do 1 double crochet. Here's 2. And 3. We will now do 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Now we'll do 3 double crochets over these next 3 stitches. 1 2 3 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. And we will end the repeat by doing 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. So please pause here, finish working out the rest of your row. Row 5 begins now by joining on with color A this time. So that's the green yarn for me. We begin the repeat for row 5 immediately. And that repeat begins by doing 3 of our single crochets, working over these next 3 stitches. So here is number 1, number 2, and number 3. Then we will do 1 double crochet right here in this very next stitch. So there's 1 double crochet, and now we will do a total of 5 single crochets over the next 5 stitches. Starting right here in the very next stitch, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we will do 1 double crochet right here in the very next stitch. And we will end our repeat by doing 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Now we're going to recap that repeat. Our repeat began over here by doing a total of 3 single crochets. We then did 1 double crochet, 5 single crochets, 1 double crochet, and the repeat ends with 2 single crochets. So we're going to do the repeat one more time together. We're going to start with 3 of our single crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet. 5 single crochets over the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 double crochet into the very next stitch. And the repeat will end with 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. You can pause here and you will meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 6. Remember, end of the row, you will finish up your repeat and have 2 stitches left. You will start the repeat for 1 stitch and then do your traditional single crochet in the last stitch of the row. So we'll be back in just a moment. Row 6 begins now by joining on with color B this time. We begin the repeat for row 6 immediately. We begin with 2 double crochets, working into the next 2 stitches or over the next 2 stitches. So 1 double crochet right here in the very next stitch. And 2 double crochet right there, very next stitch. Now we will do 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And we will do 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. 1 double or 1 single crochet, in the next stitch. 1 single crochet, sorry about that. Followed by 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. We will do 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Our repeat ends with 1 double crochet, working right here, next stitch. Let's recap that repeat. We began over here with 2 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet. So we're going to do the repeat one more time together. Our repeat begins now with 2 double crochets, working over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. We will then do 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. We will now do 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. 1 single crochet, the very next stitch. 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. We will do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And our repeat will end with 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. Oops, getting all tangled up there. So 1 double crochet ends the repeat. So you will pause here and keep working that exact same manner on down the rest of your row, and we'll be meeting back up when you're ready to move on to row number 7. Row 7 begins now by joining on with color A, so that's the green yarn for me. We're going to begin the repeat for row 7 by doing 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. Identify the very next stitch and 1 single crochet, and here is number 2. Now we will do 1 double crochet, followed by 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. 1 double crochet right here in this very next stitch. We're there in the center of our little triangle that we're forming, diamond shape. 1 double crochet. Now we will do 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet right here over this next stitch. And we end the repeat by doing 1 single crochet right here, top of this stitch. So let's recap that repeat. We began over here with 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, and then 1 single crochet. So we're going to do the repeat one more time together. So that repeat begins for row 7 with 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. Now we will do 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet, and 1 single crochet ends the repeat. So you can pause here and keep working in that same exact set of stitches. If you want to break it down and just look at it visually, you're doing your 3 single crochets across this section, double crochet, 3 single crochet, double crochet, 3 single crochet, double crochet, 3 single crochet. So that's really your repeat on down. If you want to do a visual marker on it, if you keep working in that same set of stitches, your work will turn out just like this. And we'll be back in just a moment. Row 8 begins now by joining on with color B, which I of course have already done. We're going to begin the repeat for row number 8 immediately, which is 1 double crochet. Working right here, very next stitch. We will now do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches. There's number 1. 1 double crochet and 2. We will now do 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. So right here, working over this section, we're going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches. The repeat will end with 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. That ends the repeat. So we're going to talk about our repeat again. We're going to recap it. It is 1 double crochet to begin the repeat, 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, and 2 single crochets. So we're going to do our repeat one more time together, which begins with 1 double crochet. Repeat for row number 8. 1 double crochet. 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Three single crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. 2 double crochets. 1, 2, and our repeat will end with 2 single crochets worked over those next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. So please pause here and meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 9. Row 9 begins now by joining on with color A. This time we are going to begin our repeat for row 9 by doing 1 single crochet, working right here in the very next stitch. So there's 1 single crochet. Now we are going to do 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. Oops. 1, 2, 3. 1 double crochet right here in the very next stitch. 1 single crochet in the very next stitch. 1 double crochet right here in this next. 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet right here in this very next stitch, and that ends our repeat for this row. So row number 9, we're going to recap that repeat. We began over here with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet. So if you take a look at what you're doing, we're just creating the center section here and framing out around that triangle. So we're starting to form our diamond. You're going to see in these next few rows, we're going to be coming up and going back in. So we're going to start the repeat over one more time together with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 1 double crochet, followed by 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And we end with 1 double crochet right here in this very next stitch. So please pause here and meet back up with me when you are ready to move on to row number 10. Row 10 begins now. We are joined on with color B this time, and we are going to begin our repeat for this row immediately by doing 6 single crochets over the next 6 stitches. So we're just going to identify that very next stitch and begin doing single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We will now do 1 double crochet right here in the center. Followed by 5 single crochets, 5 single crochets over the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that ends our repeat for row 10. So our repeat began over here by doing 6 single crochets, and then we did 1 double crochet followed by 5 single crochets. So we're going to do that repeat one more time together, and that begins now by doing a total of 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we will do 1 double crochet right here in the center. And our repeat will end by doing 5 single crochets over the next 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's take a look at our work real quick. Essentially what you're doing is you're working 11 single crochets across this section, 1 double crochet here in the middle. And we've got this kind of framed out little square work right here. So we're just dropping down in the center of that. So if you keep working that same manner using these as kind of like your landmarks, you will do just fine and have a perfect row. So we'll be meeting back up when you're ready to move on to row number 11. Row 11 begins now by joining on with color A, and we're going to begin the repeat for this row. The repeat for row 11 begins with 1 single crochet, followed by 1 double crochet, three single crochets over the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 1 double crochet, one single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And our repeat will end with 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. So let's recap that repeat. We began over here with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, and the repeat ends with 1 double crochet. So you're going to start that same set of stitches all the way back over and continue to work on down the rest of your row. We will do that together one more time. So we begin, repeat for row 11 with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and the repeat will end with 1 double crochet. So please pause here and meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 12. Row 12 begins now by joining on with color B. We are going to begin the repeat for row 12 with 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. So that is this one. There's 1 double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. And we will do 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. We will do 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. So we're working straight across this section right here. 1 single crochet, there's 2 and 3. We will now do 2 double crochets right here over these next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. We will now do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. And that ends our repeat for this row. So our repeat began over here with 1 double crochet. We did 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 single crochets, 2 double crochets, and we end with 2 single crochets. So we're going to start our repeat again for row 12 by doing 1 double crochet, we will do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now we do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, 3 single crochets working right across this section right here. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we will do 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches, 1, and here's number 2, and 2 single crochets will end the repeat, 1 and 2. You may pause here, meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row number 13. Row 13 begins now by joining on with color A this time. Our repeat for row 13 begins with 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. We will now do 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet right here in the center, 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch, and 1 single crochet will end our repeat for this row. So let's recap that repeat. We began over here with 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet right here. I pulled a little bit tight, so we can just tug on it, kind of bring it back down. And then we did 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, and 1 single crochet. So you will pause here and you'll meet back up with me when you're ready to move on to row 14. Since this is a fairly simple row and the repeat is pretty simple, I'm not going to do it a second time. We're just starting to come back in and form the top part of the diamond shape. So you can hit down in the description and go back to the start of this row if you do need to see it again, but you'll just keep working this exact same manner all the way down the rest of your row, and you will essentially be working 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet all the way down the row, because when we start that repeat again, we will end up with doing 2 single crochets and then the double crochet. And then from there, it's 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet all the way down the entire row. So we'll be meeting back up for row 14 in just a moment. Row 14 begins now by joining on with color B. We begin the repeat for row 14 with 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. We will do 2 single crochets working over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. We will now do 2 double crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. We will do 1 single crochet right here over this very next stitch, 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches, there's number 2. Now we will do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and we will end with 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. So let's recap that repeat. Our repeat began over here with 2 double crochets. We do 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 double crochets, 2 single crochets, and then 1 double crochet. So as you can see, we're starting to bring that diamond in. So let's start our repeat again with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We will do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, followed by 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, 1 single crochet, working right here, the center of that diamond, followed by 2 single crochets, or I'm sorry, 2 double crochets. Oh goodness. 1 and 2. And then we will do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And we will end our repeat with 1 double crochet. Right here, we've made it in between our 2 diamonds. And that double crochet ends our repeat. So you're going to pause here and keep working in this exact same manner on down the rest of your row. We'll meet back up when you're ready to move on to row number 15. Row 15 begins now by joining on with color A. The repeat for row 15 begins with 3 single crochets. So we will begin working those. 1, 2, 3. Now we will do 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch, followed by 5 single crochets, working over these next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. And then our repeat's going to end with 2 single crochets over these next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. So let's recap that repeat. We began over here with 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 5 single crochets, 1 double crochet, and 2 single crochets. So when we start our repeat again, right here in these next 3 stitches, we're going to be doing single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then we will do 1 double crochet, followed by 5 single crochets. So if you take a look at what you're really doing here, you are going to be doing 5 single crochets, 1 double crochet all the way down your row. So once you get yourself set up and the sequence correct, from there it is very easy, and there's really no need to focus on the exact repeat because that I'm giving that started out, because when we keep working 5 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 5 single crochets, 1 double crochet. So from here you can keep working in that exact same manner on down the rest of your row, and you will have no problem at all. So you will pause here and we will meet back up when you are ready to move on to row 16. We've only got to make it to row 18, so we are almost there. Row 16 begins now by joining on with color B. We're going to begin with 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. We will now do 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. 3 double crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, oops, and 3, followed by 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and our repeat will end with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Let's recap that repeat. Repeat began over here with 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets. So when we begin our repeat again here for row 16, we are going to be working right here with 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. Then we will have 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, followed by 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then we will end the repeat with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Oops. So if you take a look at what you are actually doing here, when we are working our way across this section, so here's our diamond. When we're working across here, we're doing a total of 5 double crochets. Then we do 2 single crochets, 3 double crochets, 2 single crochets. Now we're at that section again in between our 2 diamonds. We've just done 2 of our double crochets. So we will do 3 more in this section to fill it on out. You'll keep working in that exact same manner on down the rest of your row and meet back up with me when you are ready to move on to row number 17. Sorry. Moving on to row 17 next. Row 17 begins by joining on with color A. We're going to begin the repeat by doing 4 single crochets over these next 4 stitches. Is 1, 2, 3, and 4. We will now do 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. Oops. Easy to lose it if you're not looking at what you're doing. Then we will do 3 single crochets over these next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. We will now do 1 double crochet right here, very next stitch. And we will end our repeat by doing 3 single crochets over the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. So let's recap that repeat. We began over here with 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets. So you begin your repeat for row 17 again by doing 4 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we will do 1 double crochet, 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. 1 double crochet. And end the repeat by doing 3 single crochets. So when we meet that section in between our 2 diamonds, we're doing the 3 single crochets to end the repeat. Please pause here and meet back up with me when you are ready for the final row, row number 18. Row 18 begins now by joining on with color B. So we are going to get right started into our repeat for this row with a total of 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 single crochets over the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. 1 double crochet. So right here, peak of our diamond shape, 1 double crochet, followed by 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, 3 double crochets. We'll end our repeat. 1, 2, and 3. That ends the repeat. So let's recap that. We began over here with 4 double crochets, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 single crochets, and our repeat ends with 3 double crochets. So we start our repeat again for row 18 with 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. 1 double crochet right there at the peak of our diamond shape. So 1 double crochet here, followed by 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. The repeat ends with 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. So essentially what we are doing is we're working right here in between our diamond shape. We're going to have a total of 7 double crochets. Then we'd have 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet at the peak of our diamond, 2 single crochets, and then we continue on. We have the 3 double crochets to end the repeat, and then it starts immediately with 4 double crochets. So if you just keep working in that same set, using this more as like a landmark, when you get here to the center, you're going to do a double crochet. It's always framed out by the 2 single crochets on either side, and you have your 7 double crochets across that wide section in between the 2 main diamonds. So from here, you're going to pause and complete the rest of row 18. Then you will come back and rewind back in the video, going down below into the description, into the start times, and you're going to go back to row 1. You're going to repeat rows 1 through 18 in this video a total of 2 more times. So this right here is 1 full repeat of our design. You're going to do this 2 more times for a total of 3 full repeats of the design. So this is a total of 18 rows times 3. And then you will be ready to move on to week 3, pattern number 3 next week. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, I would really appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It is greatly appreciated. If you have any questions at all, of course, always leave a comment down below and I will be happy to help you in any way possible. As always, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.